Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you all to Bali, the paradise island. First of all, please adjust your time since we are at a different time zone. The local time now is currently 9 a.m. Before I explain further information about our tour for today, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Meliantari. You can call me Meli. I'm your tour guide for today from Garuda Tour and Travel. And in today's tour, we have Mr. Kadek as our bus driver. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our destination today, it starts from Trunyan village. It is located in Bali Regency. It takes about 2 hours to get to the Trunyan village by bus. Before we arrive at Trunyan village, we will pass some beautiful places or tourist attractions such as Ubud village, Gua Gajah and Tampak Siring Temple, and Pendelokan Kintamani. It is a place to see the beautiful panorama of Lake Batur or Danau Batur. And then, from Pendelokan, we will go down to the edge of Lake Batur in Kedisan village. There was a pier built which is intended for crossing boat to Trunyan village. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we have arrived at the pier at Kedisan village. We have prepared 3 boats and each boat can be filled with 5 until 7 people. Please be carefully when get into the boat and don't forget to wear the safety jacket that have been provided in the boat. We will arrive at Trunyan village in 10 until 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have arrived at Trunyan village. Well, Bali, or known as the island of 1,000 temples, has many unique attractions for tourists. Its cultural diversity is able to become a magnet for tourists to be amazed. One of the most popular attractions in Bali is Trunyan village. It is one of the Baliaga village or ancient Bali or old Bali. Okay, before we explore the Trunyan village, there are some rules and safety precautions that we have to respect. First, all of us should wear common or Balinese clothes or Balinese sarong. And since the place we are going to visit is a sacred grave, I hope you don't talk too loudly, don't say inappropriate things, and while in the cemetery area, please mind your steps because the grave is a little bit different from the grave generally in Bali. Last but not least, remember to place all the trash in the garbage bin, or you can hold on your garbage until you reach the garbage bin. Okay, so now please follow me to enter the Trunyan village grave area. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we have arrived at the grave area of Trunyan village. As what I said before, Trunyan village has its own uniqueness, which makes it as one of the most popular travel destinations for travelers. One of the characteristics that you can see from Trunyan village is the tradition of funeral without burial or cremation, as generally in Bali. But in Trunyan village, people who have passed away will be placed on the burial area and the corpses will be placed on the ground, fenced with bamboo wicker. The uniqueness of the funeral tradition in Trunyan village is still a tradition that is carried out from generation to generation by local residents. Processions of dead in Bali usually buried or burned, but in Trunyan village, the body of the dead person goes through a procession wrapped with white clothes and then placed on the ground under a big tree called Tarumenyan and surrounded by woven bamboo called Ancak Saji. Believe it or not, in this area there is no smell even though the body is not buried and just placed on the ground. Society believes that the smell of the dead people has been absorbed by the Tarumenyan tree that grows big in the cemetery area. Tarumenyan tree smells so good, so Trunyan people believe that the smell of the corpses is neutralized by TRUNYAN tree. Taru means tree and menyan means fragrance. Menyan tree is only grows in this area. Menyan became known as Trunyan, which is believed to be the origin of the name of this village. There are 3 graves, which according to the Trunyan village tradition. It's classified by the age of the person who died, the integrity of the body, and the method of burial. They call Semawayah, Semamuda, and Semabantas. The main graves is considered the holiest and excellent. The bodies that are buried are only the bodies whose bodies is intact, not disabled, and bodies whose death process is considered natural or not suicide and accidents. Someone who died naturally, his body will be covered with a white cloth and then prepared for procession and then placed without being buried under the Menyan tree. The name of the place where the body was laid is Semawayah. The method of burial without burying is known as mapasa. So the corpse is only placed on the ground and left in the open air. The second grave called Semamuda, which is specifically intended for infants and unmarried adults. However, with condition the corpse must be intact and not deformed. The burial technique can be mapasa or burial, while the third grave called Semabantas. This grave is specifically for disabled corpse and those who died due to wrong discharge or due to a natural causes such as murder, suicide, and accidents. In Semabantas, burial is carried out by burying for children under 6 years. And according to people's stories, in ancient times, the corpses are deliberately not planted to block the smell of the Menyan tree, which is said have to spread to Java. Because the king who was in power in Trunyan at that time was afraid that his area would be attacked because of the smell of the Menyan, he took an initiative to neutralize the smell that too fragrant by not burying the corpses of people who died. And finally, that tradition is still firmly held by the community until now. There are 2 ways of burial in Trunyan village. First, putting the corpse on the ground under the open air is called mapasa. People who are buried by mapasa tradition are those who at the time of death include the people who are married, people who are still single, and children. The second way is buried. It's similar like ngaben for people who died unnaturally, such as murder or suicide. If all the burrows are full, when there are a resident must be buried, then one of the bodies in the burrow have to be removed and placed around the burrow. It is not surprising that around this area there are so many skulls and bones scattered. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to go back right now. But before leave this grave, I would like to make sure that none of you are secretly take anything in this place. Even the item that you find in this place should not be moved or cleaned, because it is not necessarily good in terms of niskala or supernatural. Okay, now let's go back to the pier to go back to our bus. Follow me please. Alright, good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. Now we are already at the bus and our one-day Trunyan village tour has just finished. I hope all of you enjoyed the tour. And how was the tour? Anybody still remember the places that we have been visited? Yes, the grave of Trunyan village. On behalf of Garuda Tour and Travel, I would like to thank you for joining this tour. I hope it becomes a memorable tour. We do apologize for any inconvenience, and before we close the tour, I would like to ask you to fill in the questionnaire in order to improve our coming program. If you have finished answering the questionnaire, I'll give your tickets. I'm Melly. Thank you so much for your kind attention and see you at the next places and times. Thank you.